The owners of a bridal store which went bust, owing dozens of women more than $100,000 in total, have continued to sell wedding dresses online despite being in liquidation. Primrose and Finch directors Kerry and Matthew Smith went into voluntary liquidation last week, owing at least 59 brides more than $100,000 for dresses they'd paid deposits on and sometimes more but not received. Their former Parnell landlord Sarah Lilly told me the couple had continued to sell dresses on a wedding dress website despite owing her tens of thousands of dollars in unpaid rent.
They did a runner from our shop in Parnell, and it's obviously left us out of pocket with quite a lot of money, to be honest, and we're at the point where we have to obviously recoup some of those costs, and obviously we were going after them down the legal track, but obviously when we heard they'd done a runner, well, we can't really go after them anymore, so all those lawyers' fees and everything. So quite a bit, but I think it's just been quite a stressful time, and I guess as much as we've probably lost way more than these brides, I probably feel more for the brides than myself, because that is one of the biggest days of your life. It's one of the happiest days of your life. And to have that stress is just so unneeded. And to hear now from brides who've said to me, they were asking for money and I paid my full balance and the dress wasn't even ordered. So this has gone beyond someone struggling.
Hold on, Sarah, can I cut in there? So, because the inference was the dress, so there'd been the original kind of measurings and so that these were progress payments.
Yeah.
But actually in terms of the dress themselves, it's your belief that in many cases there was no progress, there was no dress.
I honestly believe that, and I believe that. I understand how hard it is in business, and don't get me wrong, I understand that sometimes people struggle and they get into situations and they freak out, but when you've done a runner and you've actually left the country, there is a lot more going on here than I think what people are led to believe, and I just believe that they honestly didn't really care. They were just happy to take people's money to kind of keep their debt under, keep their debt going for as long as they could. It was, I just heard from my mum, who obviously owns Sarah Lilly, and said that they actually owe money to their house that they were renting as well. That's gone to the tenancy tribunal. So they were ringing up debt everywhere, left, right and centre, and using, I think, these brides, vulnerable brides, for the money and the cash flow.
A kind of Ponzi scheme or a kind of pyramid to keep the money coming in.
Yeah, which it makes me feel physically sick, because it's like, this is such a horrible thing.
And you also, I understand, believe that some of the completed dresses which weren't delivered to the women who've paid for them have turned up elsewhere. Do you think that's happened?
Yes, we've actually, someone put it up online. They thought, that can't be true. So I checked it out on a website, and there was Kerry's account, which is one of the owners of Primrose and Finch, selling off dresses. And it was only 3 days ago that she logged into the account and uploaded some of them. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? So to me, they have no conscience.
So wait a sec, so forgive me. So these are dresses that women have paid for, ordered, had commissioned, had made, paid for.
It's very unlikely. Like, they've got a couple of samples in some odd sizes. Like, there was a 12 and there was an 8, and usually sample in like a 10. So to me, it seemed like maybe they were flicking off dresses that, I mean, it's odd that you would then, if you put yourself into voluntary liquidation, would take stock from a shop.
So, Sarah, how did you find out that they'd gone? Was there any formal notification from them at all?
So my parents had to lock them out at one stage with a security guard. They had to actually physically lock them out of the store because they owed so much money. And Mum went in and checked the store upstairs. There were tons of dresses hanging ready for pickups. It was a Saturday morning, so they were selling stock. They were selling a good amount of stock. And then put a security guard there. We changed the locks. They came to get into the store, and obviously they couldn't, and she was fuming. My parents were away that weekend, and then on the Monday they said, we'll meet you there, but we're not letting you in until you've paid what's owing to us, which was 3 or 4 months' rent. And they eventually did that, and then they had to pay a bit of rent in advance to stay there. And then I think Mum just happened to pop in just to check about a month or so later, and they'd locked us out. We could have easily just let this consume us so much that it just became negative. I said, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to get the karma. You're not going to get your money back. That's the thing we've come to terms with. We're not going to get that money back. So, right, how can we move forward from this and try and turn this negative energy into a positive energy? So, I'm trying to see if there are any brides who, I've got some Sarah Lilly samples, who, if they would like to use them for their wedding day, like, is there anything I can do to help them? Because to me, which I know someone said to me sounds crazy, is I really feel for these brides more than me, because that is such an important day. And to me, it's like, yes, of course we've lost tons of money. Don't get me wrong, and that's really hard, but we're not getting married. Do you know what I mean? And we're not going to have this really upsetting experience. So for me, it's more, how can I now turn this into a positive and hopefully help even one bride with a dress? I've got a whole lot sitting in my garage, so from when we shut them down, they're beautiful dresses, but obviously they're certain sizes. So if I can find a bride, hopefully that fits them, she's more than welcome to them.